Hi, welcome here. I'm so glad you decided to join me today. My name is Anna and I'm an obsessive knitter and pattern designer in Alberta, Canada. I'm a stay-at-home mom and also work part-time designing knitting patterns. This morning, I had the whole house to myself. All the kids were at school and my daughter was at her third day of childcare at a day home, and I spent over 2 hours making this podcast. And then my husband's home now. Yep. The end of the time alone. He worked a 16-hour shift yesterday that he was not expecting to work, so he has come home to sleep. But anyway, that's just my life. Nothing ever goes according to plan. So I spent 2 and a bit hours doing exactly this podcast, and then I found out I had done it in time lapse because the way I had the phone set up, I couldn't actually see what. I could see that it was recording, but I couldn't actually see that it was time lapsing. So I'm going to try and get back some of the joyful energy that I had. I'm going to try not to talk too quietly because my husband's home now, and that always makes me feel awkward. So anyway, I was really excited to record this podcast. I have a lot to share, and I get to share about some of my very favorite makers. And yeah, so I'm going to try and get some of that energy back. You know, when you're excited to do something and then you do it and it went well, and then you realize that all your work was for nothing and it takes the wind out of your sails, then you like lose all motivation to do anything. You just want to scroll Instagram. That's sort of what's happened to me. But I'm paying for childcare today out of my Bluebird box earnings, so I need to just suck it up, be a grown-up, and get it done. And hopefully I can, get some of that joy that I had back so that you guys can have some of that too. So let's get to the good stuff. Let's talk about the garments that I've knit and designed in the past month. And I'll start off with the Lennox Pullover. So the Lennox Pullover is something that I've talked about on every episode of this podcast, and actually is a design that's been going on for over a year. I released the Lennox cardigan, a kid's cropped shorter sleeve, like 3/4 length sleeve cardigan last April. So, and then from that point I planned to make an adult version, but yeah, it's taken me this long to do it, which is actually pretty typical for a garment. It takes almost a year to get it from the thought process stage to the release stage. So this is the Lennox Pullover, sorry, and it's a bottom-up compound raglan pullover sweater. It has a bound off neckline, and it has short row shaping in the shoulder caps. You can see it here, right here is where they are, so that it provides a better shoulder fit that pushes the neckline in on the side so that it's not like this, and it's more like a store-bought U-shaped neckline. So it's a compound raglan in that it's a different increase rate here compared to here compared to here. That sort of gives an S-shaped raglan, but it also allows for a specific lengthed yoke for each size. So the neckline is more similar across sizes than the yoke, and so that allows the knitter to increase faster or slower depending on the size of neckline you start with and the yoke that you want to end up with. I care obsessively about fit, so I want to be size inclusive, but I also want to be I also want to dedicate to the fit of all 9 sizes. So I don't want the 9th size to look like a garbage bag when the first and second size are fitted well to the body. So that means a lot more math and a lot more customizing the math per size, not using a proportion across a range, but actually doing a lot of figuring out per size, which is a lot of effort and time, to be honest. And part of the reason that I didn't want to do this design originally, because I knew there was just a lot of figuring out that I'd never done before, so that in itself is a learning curve and takes longer. But I'm hoping it will be a worthwhile design for you if you knit it. Another interesting part of this design is that the stitch pattern is worked on the inside of the garment. So you will be knitting with this side facing you until you bind off the neckline, then you are working flat back and forth. And then at the very end, you can actually decide if you do your finishing steps neatly. You could decide that you want this to be the outside, or my original design plan is that you will have this more defined stitch pattern as the outside. But actually, if you're careful, like my seaming is neat, and that means I can do it on either the right or the left side. Both look nice. I can wear it as wrong side or right side in. And actually, as you're knitting it inside out, but then working flat later on in the process, it changed how I had to refer to the right side and the wrong side, and yeah, just the many quirks of this pattern. Hopefully I dealt with all the quirks, and so knitters will just need to follow what I said in the pattern. But I just made a first call for testers today, so I don't plan to have this released until the fall of this year. But it is in process, and it's all because of your encouragement. Honestly, if people hadn't been so expressive in their desire to knit this sweater, I would not have developed it as a pattern. So it's all you guys. But in the end, I find that the patterns that give me the most trouble at the start end up being the ones that I produce the best, and the ones that I'm most proud of, and the ones that I learn the most during the process. So I also wanted to talk about the ease of this sweater. It's very oversized, and I recommend 8 to 12 inches of positive ease for your final garment. But I'm not used to designing oversized garments, so I just kept my size range the same. I didn't cut. I know that some designers, if they have a oversized garment like this with a wide range of positive ease recommendation, then they'll cut out maybe every odd size. So I didn't do that. So there's quite a bit of overlap in sizes. The first one that I knit has 12 inches of positive ease on me. So I'm a 38 bust and it's a 50-inch sweater circumference. So for this one I did my second sample. I wanted to try out a different amount of positive ease, so I went down a size. So it's a little bit shorter. I adjusted the sleeves for my own liking, so the sleeves aren't short, but I really don't think you can tell a difference. So this one has, it should have 6, I think it's 6 or 8. No, it's 8 because there's 4 inches between sizes. So the first one had 12 inches of positive ease and this one has 8 inches. So that's the range that I recommend that you should have for your sweater. You can have 8 to 12. So this one has 8. The gray one that I made has 12. And I don't see a big difference in fit. I probably prefer the gray one a little bit, but I don't know if it's the fabric I prefer or the fit. But yeah, I probably actually could have cut out some sizes, but whatever. The work is done, so I'm not gonna cut them out now. When I fiddle with numbers like that, I usually end up making a bunch of mistakes. So I'm just gonna leave it as it is and have a lot more testers than I needed. In February, I released the Always vest, which I'm wearing here. And so now I'm developing it as a more masculine fit, longer, no waist shaping. And my mom made a size of it's going to be called the Evermore vest. She made one for my dad, and this is it here. These stitch markers are just part of my thought process. Yeah, it's really nice. She used KnitPicks Wool of the Andes worsted, and when she was knitting it, I wasn't really a fan of the fabric, but it's really nice. She did a really good job. It blocked super well, as wool does. And so KnitPicks Wool of the Andes is worsted, is a thinner yarn than I used for this. So this fabric is like sturdier and stiffer than this one. This one's got kind of a drape to it. It's knit at the same gauge, but this is actually really nice and soft. And yeah, actually it turned out really well. I wasn't sure how that would work. So the pattern is written, but now the only problem with this, it fits well and it's a good size and ease, but the neckline is too wide. So it comes out here where the depth is okay, but you'd want it to be more like this. Not so, usually a masculine fitted garment does not have like a wide boat neck. So that's my own fault. I didn't do enough research into men's sizing. I just thought I could wing it. So the problem is that in order to fix that, she would have to rip out all the ribbing on every armhole and neckline, and then undo her seaming, and then rip back and redo it. That's what I would do. Like if it was me, I would rip it out, but I'm not sure what she's gonna do. And that's fine. That's why I should knit my own samples, really, is because I do a lot of thinking on the go, and yeah, I make a lot of changes, but I probably wouldn't have even noticed that neckline was too long until it was done. But anyway, I'm not adverse to ripping out. So I think I will finish my version. This is when I started. just to get like make sure my fit was okay, which obviously didn't work out, but I think I will rip back to here and add length. The only problem is that I don't have enough of this yarn left. So I am thinking I'm actually going to rip out this sample. I know you're horrified, right? But here's my thinking. So the Always Vest in the pattern recommends 0 to 2 inches of positive ease. So that means your garment is 2 inches bigger than you are. Which is fine. This one has 2 inches of positive ease. But I think it looks better with only 1 inch, and it could even have a little bit of negative, I think. So if I take out 1 inch on each side, which makes 2 inches, then the shoulders fit a little bit better. And it's a more flattering fit here around the armhole. You don't have that extra bulk. So that's one thing. Another thing is that when I was knitting this sample, I started it without waist shaping. And when I finished the whole thing, I think, and tried it on, I realized that this shape on a cropped garment was not what I was going for. So I actually seamed together the exact number of stitches that I wanted to remove on the front, 2 sides on the front and 2 sides on the back. So there's kind of like a little tube there, and I did that all the way up. You can see so those became increases in the pattern, but I seamed them together to get rid of them. So right here, where is it? I can't do this and see at the same time. Has a little wrinkle there where I stopped the seaming. So I would like to get rid of that. And if I ever do like a trunk show at a yarn show, which I've been pondering, but it's not within my ability right now, but I think that would be fun. As a yarn show participant, I would like to go and see a designer's samples. So if I did that, I would like to have perfect samples and not things that are like hacked and Frankenstein together. So I would like to redo this one anyway, and it doesn't take much yarn and it knits up super quick. So I might rip this one out to finish the Evermore Vest sample. And then I bought this Cascade Eco DK, Merino DK. It is in the color Doe Skin. I got this from Statement Junkie in Sherwood Park. I have 5 skeins of it, which is too much, but that's okay. I can hold this double and make a sample of the Always Vest for myself. So that's my thoughts on that. I've been designing a summer tank based on with a similar construction to the Kenosi tank. But this one instead is kind of like a mashup of the Always Vest and the Kenosi tank. So it will have lace that extends down the body, but instead of being on the back like the Kenosi tank, it will be under both armpits. So this is a linen yarn that I had for a summer design that I haven't cast on, but I didn't have yarn yet for the design I'm planning. So I figured I would just use smaller needle sizes and knit a bigger size and kind of get an idea of fit and stuff like that. So this is quite tiny. My husband asked if it was for my daughter who's 6. I actually can get it on, but it's not very attractive and the armholes are too short. But yeah, it helped me to get the pattern where I needed to. I did not love knitting with this linen. I haven't ever knit with a pure linen. I've knit with a linen and silk blend, and it was okay, but this I find makes the process very slow and makes it less enjoyable. Knitting with like a hard, crunchy yarn that has no stretch. Whereas knitting with 2 strands of Holst Garn Coast, which is a wool and cotton blend, is just so much smoother, and it feels like the process goes faster. So the one that I showed there, that beautiful greeny blue, is this one. Erika Knight Studio Linen. It's a pure linen. So then I asked on my Instagram stories for a poll of what colors people preferred out of 4 colors I had narrowed down to on out of the West Coast, Wet Coast Wool's website. So they just have the Holst Garn Coast, yeah. They just have the Holst Garn Coast product photos on their website, which sometimes they're great, but sometimes they just don't seem to capture the color, right? So it's not Wet Coast Wool's issue, it's the Holst Garn Coast product photos. But they had, so anyway, on my Instagram stories, the majority of people preferred this Cassis color, which I liked too. But when I ordered it, it's very purple. And that's not quite the color that I was hoping it would be. I don't know what the difference was. It seemed more heathered or red or something on the website. So I have 3 of these guys, but I do not want a purple tank top. So, plus I just did the Always collection in kind of a purple, and I did the Sora top, a spring top last year in a purple. So, yeah, purple was not really what I wanted. So I had happened to buy these as part of a potential shawl design, and it's called Porcelain, and I liked this one enough that I figured instead of ordering a new color, like trying to exchange the purple, it's called Cassis, instead of trying to exchange that for another color that might not be what I hoped it would be, I would just go with what I had in hand that I didn't mind. So I think it will be okay in blue. And I'll try and get maybe some more of this blue in exchange for the purple. So far it's exactly like the Kanosi shawl. It's top down, you start the straps, and then you join at the front, cast on and join at the front, and then you work the armholes, and then I've finished that part, and then you would normally put that on hold, but I just kind of pushed it to the side. That's what one of my testers did for the Kanosi tank. They just pushed it to the side. Oh my goodness, look at this mess. This is what you get with holding 2 lace weights together, and it's covered in hair. Anyway, what a mess. So I started the back strap and I lost the drop stitches. Gosh. So that's going. I should just finish this row and then we can move on. and then we can talk about accessories. There, we got it. And now I can just pull that out of that mess. Last month I released the Always collection. It's a similar stitch pattern to the Always vest, but in a hat, pair of fingerless mitts, and a cowl that all come together in one bundle for one price. So this is the cowl. This is the front here. And the front is longer than the back. It's done in DK weight held double, but the hat and the fingerless mitts are done in DK held single. So you should be able to get the whole collection out of 2 skeins of DK weight. The hat is ribbed all around, but then it has this twisted stitch panel that goes up the top, and then it's decreased in pattern. And these are the fingerless mitts, so the chart's a little different for the mitts, but a similar vibe. It just was too big to plunk the whole thing in there. So normally when you do short rows, which is how the front of this cowl is shaped so that it goes longer. Normally when you do short rows, they push the material in. So like the heel of a sock is a good demonstration of this. It's rounded. That's what short rows are doing. They're pushing it to the inside while lengthening it. So it's not a directly linear increase. Whereas this one, I wanted it to be flat. I didn't want it to curve in and make like a bubble there. So I did a little bit of a different short row technique. And because it's DK held double, it actually stands up on its own. So that's the hat. I like it to be taller on top, but I don't like the point that people get. I don't like that look. I like it to be a nice round but tall. I can't even make it do it. And then the mittens. I think that's all I have to say about that. Oh, there's 3 sizes of the hat. The mitts only come in 1 size, and the cowl comes in 2 sizes. This is the child size, which I actually like for fit. It's a little bit tighter. It's not quite as long, but you could follow the child size stitch counts and the round instructions for the largest size, and then it would make it longer. I was looking for a simple project to work on that required no thinking or writing down or note taking for myself. I've had a lot of trouble finding time to work on the organizational aspect of pattern design. But I've had no shortage of knitting time. We've had a lot of sick days, but then we've also been traveling when we haven't been sick. So when we travel, we take my husband's vehicle, which I'm not insured to drive, so that means I get to knit the whole time. So like we just went to Banff, which is 4 hours from us, 4 hours there, 4 hours back. And so yeah, I've just had a lot of knitting time, but not a lot of like designing time. So I was watching Teti Lusic's podcast, and she showed these beds she made for her cat. It was called Katzie's bed. The pattern is called that. And I thought I might use a whole bunch of my cotton yarn leftovers and maybe make a rug. So last year I released the Meadow Sweet dress, which is a little girl's dress pattern with straps, like halter straps. There's this cute little lace detail on the hem and at the waist, and then an open back. So I made a bunch of those, and the yarn was just so cheap. It's just a Michael's cotton acrylic blend, which is great for kids. They had so many beautiful colors, and so I kind of went crazy on buying it. And then when I released the pattern, the yarn that I originally used was no longer available at Michael's, so I bought some more to try and find like a replacement yarn that I could recommend in the pattern. So I have all these cotton leftovers in beautiful colors. Yeah. Like super fun spring colors. So I have been following that pattern. It's only as big really in the pattern. It's only as big as the yellow, I think. So then I've had to kind of make up the rest on my own, which I'm not a crocheter. I can do it, but I don't really know how to follow a pattern or how to increase. But so I've been kind of just winging it for the rest of it. But basically the pattern is 2 ovals that you then crochet together to make this little bed. So I thought I could make a rug for my girls' room or the area where they play on the floor downstairs. They have like a Playmobil area, and it's just hard. There's no carpet there, so I could put it there too. Crocheting hurts my hands, so I've been like taking it slow on that, and also slows me down, and I lose motivation if I have to figure things out for somebody else's pattern. I mean, it's the pattern was fine, I just don't know how to crochet very well. So anyway, that's that. I also did a headband, which kind of like a swatch. I'd like to develop this stitch pattern into some kind of a colorwork sweater. But I did it as a headband instead, and then I just decreased. So this is the starting ribbing, and this is the end, and I just decreased by like 6 stitches before that ribbing, so that it actually like fits the head up there, and it seems to help it. It seems to help it stay on my head better than most headbands. I don't plan on making that into a pattern, but hopefully I'll use the stitch pattern to develop some other things. So the design I originally bought this for was going to be a shawl. Obviously I'm into the spring colors right now. The Easter egg colors. But yeah, it was mostly going to be these two and then with like a pop of this one. So I'm not sure what will happen with that, but I have it all, it's all in my brain. I've been doing some other designing. I did a bunch of submissions over the past month. Unfortunately, none of them were accepted, so that was a bummer. But one of them I'm developing into the tank pattern with the lace down the armhole sides. And I did get one of the designs accepted for yarn support, so that won't be coming out till next year, which is good because it's a lace weight large hap style shawl, so that will take a long time to knit and a long time to test, although I don't think it will take a long time to design, so that's something else. I won't be able to show you that, I don't think, but or maybe I will. I should check on that. Okay, now for this fun stuff. I am approaching 5,000 subscribers on this channel, which is completely crazy. I didn't expect to get to that number ever, and definitely not this quickly. So I'm so glad you're all here, and it's pretty exciting. I didn't plan to ever do a giveaway on this channel, but with it, with 5,000 so quickly, I just feel like I should acknowledge that, and I should say thank you, and we should interact and yeah, have some fun. So I asked some of my favorite makers who are local to me if they'd like to contribute to the giveaway, and they are just so generous. Like, I think the fiber community is just the kindest and most generous and thoughtful group of people. At least that's how I've experienced it. So my pals at Ginger Snap contributed this mini skein set. It is called April Adventures in Gnomes, and it's 75-25 fingering weight. And it also comes with, it says, a wee wicker basket, which I can't wait to see what that is. That sounds adorable. And aren't these perfect spring neutrals? They're beautiful. So thank you, Kim and Colin. I've knit with their bases before and they're lovely. So smooth. So my friend Charity from Brine Dye Works. I'm going to keep this in the vacuum sealed package so I can mail it like this. But she contributed her non-superwash Highland DK in the color, the name of the pair starts with B. B-O-S-C. Bosch. Bosk. Someone please tell me how to pronounce that, because I still don't know. But this is one of the colors that was in the Moody Hue pullover that I released last year. And it's beautiful. Charity does these amazing tonals that are so variegated, so complex, but when you look at them from far away, you don't see that. It's only when you get close. And they also don't pool a ton. Like, I honestly don't think they pool at all, but I can't guarantee that. So I have an entire sweater in this base, and it's lovely. It's super soft, and it's a wearable weight. It's not too heavy and hot. So thank you, Charity. I'm excited that somebody else gets to experience your colors and your yarn. So the next prize is from Isabelle Gosselin Designs. She is originally from Quebec, but she now lives near Calgary. And she is extremely talented at making bags. This is one that I ordered from her last year. It's called the Utilitaire. And it's a bag. Like if you order it, it's just a bag with a strap. But I asked for the backpack option. So she added this loop through plus these straps. And let me show you. It has all kinds of pockets inside. So this is my favorite bag. It has a pocket here with grommets, so you can string your yarn through if that's your thing. It has a pocket on the other side, a big pocket to stick your notes, or I stick yarn labels in there. And then she has more pockets, like little pockets here, and there's even skinny ones for, yeah, here, skinny ones for your needle, straight needles, or for a pencil. And has all kinds of hardware. So this is the part that you can strap this strap to if you don't want it like a backpack. So there's like all kinds of hardware on here, and all of it is, all the straps are leather. Yeah, it's a boxed bottom. It's just a really nice bag, and I think what she's selling them for is a steal. I was just in Banff looking at leather bags and bags with leather bits on them, and honestly you cannot get anything for that price, and this is all handmade. And if you live in Alberta or Canada, you're supporting a local maker. So I can, like, just without her contributing to this giveaway, I'm a huge fan of her work, and I'm definitely going to buy another bag one day. So these are my little pins I just want to show you. That's from Brick and Bubble. It says Knit for Brains, and that's my little Prairie Fiber Festival button. And this is Isabelle's logo. So I asked her, she's tested for me before, and she's just a lovely person, and so I asked her if she'd like to contribute to this giveaway, and she was so generous. So I said that I liked the little notions pouches that she did, so she sent the La Pochette. It's like the littlest notions pouch with this beautiful butterfly lining. I love these colors. Navy and that coral are just, I love that. With this dirty bronze zipper, so pretty. So she sent that, plus she sent La Poche, which is the bigger version. So you can fit your little one inside. Hold your little stitch markers and stuff, and this could hold your scissors and whatnot. Plus she also sent a string of stitch markers. I love these stitch markers. They're like, because they're made of leather, they're grippy enough that they don't fling off your needles like plastic ones do. I only keep a plastic stitch marker on my needles for one round, and then it's gone forever. Plus they're like girthy enough that you can find them when you've dropped them. Those are my favorite. Actually, my favorite stitch markers are baby hair elastics, but these are my second favorite. And I still have some of them, which is amazing. I don't think I have any plastic ones left. So, and she also sent a ton of stitch markers that are stamped with little reminders of what you're supposed to do at that spot. So this one says, knit two together. This one says beginning of round, make one left, sorry, SSK, there's just a bunch in here, make one right, yarn over, like a whole bunch. So maybe I will split those up so that a few people get a little bit of Gosselin goodness in their lives. Isabel also unexpectedly sent me this amazing leather notebook. I won't try to pronounce it because my French is not good. But it is so lovely. It's holding a dot grid journal that can be removed so that you can just have your beautiful leather binding all the time on every knitting journal you want to use it on. And she sent this for me to keep, and I will treasure it. Thank you, Isabel. Another prize that we've gotten for the giveaway is Melinda, my friend and tech editor, has offered a pattern of the winner's choosing from her website or Ravelry store. I will put some here, some pictures of her work with permission. And yeah, she has amazing patterns. I really want to do the Maggie shawl. I think it's Maggie. But there's quite a bit. There's quite a range of published patterns there, so you get to choose your top fave. Okay. Final prize that I have with me today is a perpetual calendar from Loft Designs. She is a local maker to me, and right now she's doing Mother's Day boxes. So you should check that out. She has a Etsy store. And she also does these perpetual calendars. So maybe you've never heard of these before. It's a calendar that only has the month and the date and not the day, so that you can continually use it every year. So I won't take that one out because it's packaged so nicely, but I have a smaller version in my home that I bought from her store a while ago, and I've also bought some for my the women in my life. So it looks like this. So yours, the one that's in the giveaway, has coils, so that's a little bit nicer. This one I have to unclip it and clip it back on whenever I want to change the month. But it just has the dates and whatever event that's recurring every year that you want to remember. So I have birthdays in here, I have anniversaries, I have maybe people's passings that I want to remember. Yeah, it just helps you be a more thoughtful person to the people in your life. And if I've ever remembered anyone's birthday, it's because of this thing. I have 11 nieces and nephews, so I need these. So that's, you get this really nice big size with these beautiful flowers on them. Plus she offered seed paper. So these are things she makes herself. It's recycled paper with seeds inserted. And you just take one little heart and put it into the ground and plant it with soil on top, water it, and flowers should grow. I'm not quite sure what kind of flowers. I think they're wildflowers. So maybe I will not include this if you don't live in the same area of the world as me, or maybe I'll just make sure whoever is close to me gets this gift, but just so we don't spread invasive plants where they're not supposed to be. yeah, so thank you makers. Thank you Renee and Charity and Isabel and Kim and Colin and Melinda. You guys are amazing, and that was, yeah, way more generous than I expected. So I will have some other ones. I just didn't have the foresight today to bring them up, but I'll have some other contributions from myself, and I think there's some more maker contributions coming in the mail. If you would like to contribute, if you're a maker and would like to contribute, you can email me, and I'll just put my email address here. I have a couple skeins of yarn that I bought this month I wanted to share. I've never bought from these makers before, so that's kind of fun. The first one is from Camp Fiber Yarns. It's called Earl Grey Latte. She's currently doing a sip and knit or a cup of knit or some kind of promotion where she has mystery colorways that come out based on drinks. So it's really fun, and I really lucked out, I think, with this one. It's gorgeous. It's a 80/20. And I also bought this skein from Smash Knits. Camp Fiber Yarns are from Sherwood Park, and Smash Knits are from Manitoba. And don't you just all want that color right now? We all need some sun. So it is 75/25, and I don't have a lot of fingering weight because I don't usually knit with fingering weight, but I have an idea in my brain of a scrappy sweater that I'd like to design, but I don't have any scraps. So I'm kind of just collecting little bits of yarn as I go, a skein here and there. How pretty are those together? So nice. Okay, I think I was a lot more efficient that round through, not being time-lapsed, I hope. I hope you have a wonderful rest of April. I hope you have grass and leaves on trees where you are. Here it is so dry this time of year. My skin just gives up, so I have eczema all over my wrists and my ankles, and I got it on my eyelid, and yeah, everyone's allergies are flaring up, and it's just so dry. There's no moisture in the air. Until it starts to green up, we can really suffer in the dryness. So it's so lovely to have all the nice soft falling snow, but yeah, there's some prices to pay too. But yeah, it's warming up here. It's sunny and windy, and snow is melting. Robins are back. I heard a mourning dove this morning. I'm starting to think about doing my Bluebird boxes and going and checking on them. I usually do at least one check in April, so starting to shift gears that way. And yeah, I hope you have a great rest of April. Our hearts are still with Ukraine. Bye.